I don't think that God can be kind all the time. That might be controversial right now, but I think
Han Meditations.
so. Another funny thing that happened at that time is I was messing with these different fairies around her house. They were small creatures. They reminded me of squirrels, and I remember seeing them around me when I was doing different rituals.
You would see them?
Yeah.
And what would they look like?
They would be like shadowy. They wouldn't be like fully out there because they're in another dimension. They're not here on this plane. But my mom had asked me, "Who are your little friends following you around?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "What do you mean?" So I was like, "Yeah, those are my friends. You can see them." So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these little guys, they felt like a different energy than the big shadow man.
Yeah, they were
thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but these were trickery. They like trick still.
Yes, they were
mischief.
That reminds me of Shaitan. Do you know who Shaitan is?
Who's that?
Satan. In the Bible, Shaitan in the Quran. Very trickery, mischievous being. The one that tricked Adam and Eve to get the apple.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's always tricking. And the whole time, we just got done watching the Prophet series. We've watched Adam. We've watched Idris. We've watched Sheath. And during that time, he kept saying, I'm going to come down. I'm going to be able to trick the people. And God said, my followers will never be tricked. You might be able to trick some of the lesser people. My followers will never be tricked. So he kept playing this music. He started tricking people. And then over time, he just kept playing this game of almost cat and mouse where he's tricking them. And some people are trying to fight back against it. Did you feel like it was a demonic type energy like that?
Like I was being tricked in a bad way? No, it felt playful. And then after reading the book, after this, it says that they will do this to initiate you to see how serious of a person you are. If you're too serious and you don't laugh at the tricks, they won't mess with you. They don't want you to be a part of, whatever you got going on with them. But if they find out that this person can laugh, this person is a joyous person, and they enjoy your company and you don't take life too serious, they will, let you be a part of their energy.
So what do you, serious question, what do you get out of interacting with these beings that you wouldn't get from interacting with God, the one true God that we all know?
I believe they are a part of God. So definitely healing. There's something very spiritual about the connection that can't be explained when you do have a relationship with the other side in that way. I leave offerings to these beings like flour or like milk and honey at certain times. And during these times, I'll go out to leave offerings and a certain animal will be in that spot waiting for me. So it's like I get a spiritual connection or an omen or a sign or something's coming my way that I need to know that is coming from source, that is coming from God. Through nature, it's being channeled towards me from these beings. So it's like opening up a channel to source by talking to them because they can travel through these different dimensions and I'm getting the information that I need to get.
So, but my thing is why not cut out the middleman and just go straight to God?
I think that everyone's beliefs are different, and this is how I feel connected to God. This is how I get that feeling of love. And I do talk to God. I do talk to the Christian God. I do pray to him. But
do you pray to the Christian God?
Yes.
So you believe that each religion has their own version of God?
Yes.
So actually, tell me what you know about Islam and what have you heard about Islam?
I honestly don't know too much. I have heard you guys talk about them, talk about the Islam God. I really don't know. No,
Kelly's laughing because you say the Islam God or the Christian God.
Yeah.
From my perspective, there's only one God. There's only one true God.
Okay.
And the God of Islam is the same God of the Christian God.
Right.
It's the same God.
Forgive me for my ignorance. Please.
No. That's why we're all here to learn.
Right.
But it's the same God.
Yeah.
Allah.
Yeah. Okay.
But what the issue is Christians and Muslims actually believe very similar belief systems, but Muslims don't believe that Jesus was the Son of God.
Okay.
But they believe he was a prophet. Okay. He did do miracles, and he was a powerful being, and that he will come back down in the end times and convert people to Islam, which at first sounds crazy, but then the more you think about it, it's like Jesus never told people to worship him.
Right.
He never told people to kill in his name. He never told people to do all this bad stuff that they're doing in the name of God that he never said to do. Right. So it's almost like, from my perspective, Jesus came, or after Jesus left, he looked down and said, oh, this is really bad. They made a couple of revisions through the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and Jesus. They made a couple of revisions to the religion. And through that, then they were able to say, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. That's why you're not allowed to depict the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, at all, because they didn't want the same mistakes to happen that happened to Jesus, where they started worshiping Jesus like a God. So from my perspective, it's all just one God anyways. So there's only one God. And I believe that God is God's own entity, something completely separate, completely different than anything that we know. I do believe that God created us, and that we are a part of God, a very, very small part of God, because God created us, therefore we exist. And therefore, if you let God within your body, then you can be a part of God. But if you don't let God in, and then you are not God, and you are not a God at all, that is not true. But I believe, my personal beliefs, the way that I interpret it, is that you are a part of God because God created us, and you let God in, then you become a part of God, and then you do the God's will, and you are subservient in a way to God, because God is the ultimate creator. So as we know, everyone knows that powerful, powerful source energy that can't even be comprehended. So that energy, from my perspective, has to be different, has to be separate, because we can't even comprehend it. So it has to be separate and different from us. Do you agree? Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
So I believe if God is different, if God is separate from us, then why not? And God is the most powerful being possible. I just don't understand, why not just go to that highest, most powerful level of where God is, and not mess around with the creatures, the fairies, the demons, initiations, because God doesn't ask anything of you other than your subservience to God, which is the all-knowing, powerful being. It's like whenever I tell people, you need to listen to what I say because I know best. So I listen to what God says no matter what. It's the same thing. And you guys, if you're watching this, Jazzle actually was there. She actually saw me in the hospital. She saw me on my death's bed, and she saw it and was able to realize. And I told her I had to go to the highest level possible to get the result that I needed, which was a miracle. I had to go to God to get a miracle, because the doctors diagnosed me with stage 5 kidney disease. They said I wouldn't be better. They diagnosed me with CKD, chronic kidney disease. They said it would not get better. I would have to get a transplant. That is the only way. Every day reminding me that is the only way to do it. You cannot get better no matter what, under any circumstances. Kelly and I had a vision when she was doing Reiki. God came to me. Jesus came to me, and he said to us, you need to work with me. You need to work with God.
Yeah.
He wasn't saying worship me like God and you'll be healed. He said you need to work with me and God to get this done. And that is whenever we took it to another higher step level, where we were able to actually get a better relationship with God and a better relationship with Jesus as well. So whenever we learned about Islam, that they still believe that Jesus was a high level prophet and he's going to come back, and they believe that God created Jesus, to me, it's just an interpretation thing. Christians believe that since there was the Immaculate Conception through Mary, they believe that Jesus was, God impregnated Mary in that sense. And so he was literally the Son of God, literally. Muslims believe that God created Jesus as he creates everybody, as he created Adam and Eve, just out of nothing. Boom, it's nothing for God. He created Jesus to fulfill this role. Boom, you have a body, you're a human now. Now you have to, now you're going to do the things that I want you to do. And then he did those miracles, and then he led that life, and then he's going to come back and convert people to Islam. So what do you think? I know I just said a lot, but what do you think about that?
Whoa, hold on. Let me try to put that all in my brain at one time.
Well, just tell people you saw me in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
What were you thinking when you saw me in the hospital?
I knew that you were gonna be fine. I felt deep down, because you take your spiritual practices very seriously, and you have a lot of powerful people praying over you, and a lot of people love you, and I knew you were going to be okay because of
Thank you. I appreciate
how
that.
devoted you were to your practices and how many people loved you. So,
So do you believe that it was God that healed me?
absolutely.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Do you believe that fairies could do a healing like that?
They could definitely do a healing. They could, but you would have to earn their
Give
trust.
up part of your soul.
No,
I'm joking.
Now, I do believe that you could use nature as a way to heal, connect to Mother Earth as a way to heal. But if you were to speak with an entity, a being, depending on this being, you might have to earn it first. So, depending on the situation.
Okay. So don't you think it's just better and more efficient to work with God then? Because God's not saying you have to earn it, you have to prove it to me or anything. God is just saying, let me in your life and let me lead you because I know best. Right. And everything will happen. Life will be easier, more smoother, everything. You don't have to give anything up. You don't have to convince God. God already loves you and wants you to be on the highest vibration.
Well, you don't have to give anything up. I'm the kind of person who, if I am in a relationship, a connection, or a friendship, I am going to devote myself to that relationship and give offerings of love. So if I'm going to form a relationship with any entity, I'm going to give it parts of myself. Just like if you were to serve God, you're giving parts of yourself to serve God. If I'm going to leave flowers or devote myself, a couple times a week or once a week or, a certain time of the moon to a certain being to have a relationship, to give that devotion, it's simply to have a better connection and to show that I deserve its love and so that I can give it love back. Okay. Because that's how things should be. It's give and take.
I would say that I don't think I'm giving a part of myself to God because I believe God is so perfect that I can't give or offer anything to God. I believe that once I give my life to God, God is giving me more. God is giving me more power, more strength, more healing, more information that I need to defeat Shaitan in this reality. So that is truly what I believe and what I feel. I know you're laughing because you know how I am and how animated I am. I know you're not laughing at what I'm saying, but how I'm saying it. But but the way you explain it is really good, though. And I do commend you for coming on and talking about something that is this personal to you. So
for sure. So in a minute, I want to get back a little bit to the Wicca and ask a little bit more about that. But for now, while we're talking about it, I know this is something we need to look into more, but a lot of people have been commenting and saying in Islam, there's a concept called jinn. And I don't know exactly what it means yet, but from what I know so far, to them, they're essentially like it sounds almost like little fairies, little creatures. And have you heard of it, by the way?
I have heard something like that about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I also think to them, it's also their version of like little demons or devils, if you will. So it's interesting.
Yes, I've heard. I know I have. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you know about them?
No, keep going.
Well, okay. So we'll hear what you know about them because that's pretty much all I know. But
you're basically saying, does she think that that's who she's communicating with, or?
Well, in a way, but I also want to say, so for example, as he was saying in the Prophet series of Sheath, in that we found out that for one group of people, they say that Shaitan, who is, Satan, he is the one who started music. He started playing a little fiddle. People have never heard anything like that before. And the group of people who are already kind of down their bad path, he started playing it for them. And next thing you know, they started dancing. They started partying. and wild stuff was going on. The woman started getting suggestive, and through this music playing, he kind of started to take control of them, because through the music listening and the partying, things got worse, da 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 da. So, for example, for a situation like that, it might seem good and dandy. Oh, we're just dancing, we're having partying, we're having fun. This feels so good. But from what I know, as far as the jinn, it's almost like they believe all entities like that essentially came through shaitan, or just basically bad, evil, badness, not God. So I guess my question is, would you ever, because of these fairies, since they could be bad, you know, did you ever think to yourself, what if they do all come from not God?
I think that everything comes from God. The above is as the below, and the below is of the above. It's the same thing. So knowing who I am as a person, I wouldn't connect with something of evilness, but I don't believe.
But didn't you connect with an evil thing already, though?
Certainly you wouldn't purposely, but
on accident.
For example, as in the music,
right?
They're just partying, having fun. It feels good. They don't think it's bad,
right? But
little do they know the source of it all.
Yeah.
So just as a devil's advocate question, of course not accusing you of doing anything bad purposely, but do you think it's possible? Because that's a bit of my perspective. I just think that if anything can be bad, I just don't want to mess with it.
Right.
Because
also,
I just don't want to open that up.
Also, I believe that God created everything, right?
Yes.
So that means that God created good and God created bad as well. So God created bad things because the reality we live on now is essentially a test. So we're testing ourselves now to really see where we're going to go and what plane we're going to get to, and so on and so forth. So do you believe that God could have created these beings to test people to see if they could trick and fall for the trick of believing that they are gods and should be worshipped?
It could be a possibility, but I don't believe that a God created everything. I believe that God created everything, which is everything at once in one time, one being.
That's
one
what I'm
explosion.
saying.
But
like God created him.
Yeah.
You know.
But I don't think.
Like if I say, I don't know if I said a God, but if I did, I just mean God, because I only believe in one God. So
I think that could be someone else's beliefs, and it could be true in someone else's mind. But I believe in primal things. So in like how things were back in the day, like Mother Nature isn't kind all the time. It can be evil. She could be destructive. I don't think that God can be kind all the time. That might be controversial right now, but I think everything can be bad. If God is everything, God creates karma, you know. Yeah.